What's going on, y'all? This is Juan of We Are Jersey Magazine. Before we start this legendary interview, let's shout out to Good Eats Experience for hosting us here. And make sure, if you do work, stop by in the city. But we are here for a good reason. All right. I'm talking to a new as a Don Bosco alumni. You might have seen the CBS Sports, Jack, Ebony, much more. But I mean, now, today's time, it's bringing a new content to the space. And you guys should be aware because just getting started. The story just began. What's going on, Chris? Brother Robinson, what's up?
Maintain it. Of course. Get good eats. Get some good eats. And have a good conversation.
For sure. Man, how you doing, man, today?
So far, so good. How you feeling?
I'm doing all right. Can't manage, man. In the city right now, writing new work. How you doing, man? Walking to the city. Where you coming from?
Of course. Doing press runs all week in Manhattan. So from Manhattan to Newark, New Jersey. That's actually where I was born. So,
wow.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, man. So tell me, how was it, I'm sure it's a good feeling, right, from New York, right? And being able to be and that's like sharing, with Floyd. How is it that you can actually give back to people like that?
So it's cool to give back. I only stayed here in the hospital, and I've moved around different places. But over the years, even aside from coming here, I've done stuff in the community with in Newark. But I finished grad school at Howard University. Spent a lot of time at NJT doing working with kids in the Upward Bound program. So 2.5 years working in the Upward Bound program, and at a point where I got an early start. I was adjunct professor at NJT, and also tutoring, doing writing. Yeah, do writing tutoring. This was like maybe 10 years ago. So it's kind of a full circle moment, if you ask me. Further up the street, working at NJT and in different capacities, and then sitting here talking about the journey. It's a full circle moment, and I'm glad to sit in this chair.
That's awesome. And I wanted to ask you because fun fact about you. You started your journey early, man. Like,
Yeah, I did.
You be like at that age, we still that confidence, like I can't imagine the age trying to start your speeds.
Yeah, so I did start at a young age. I had a radio show for 2 years with the Nets. It's a show called Nets Let It Play. I co-hosted with Evan Roberts, who's over at WFAN, as well as Albert King, former Net. Woman named Lynn Wilson, and Chris Carrino was the voice of the Nets, was executive producer of the show back then. Show for 2 years called Nets Let It Play. It introduced me to just the world of journalism. So, at that point, I'm interviewing players in locker room. This is the Nets era where John Calipari was the head coach, the vice president of basketball operations. You had Tim Cassell, Kendrick Gill, Jason Williams, Gary Kittles, and all those guys. And I was going back and forth between locker rooms. So, this is your locker room. I was around the Bulls during the Last Dance era. So Michael, Scotty, Dennis, Walker, some of those other people. And, that gave me, the confidence, I think, just being in those rooms. I was around Stephen A. Smith when he was covering the Sixers for the Philadelphia Inquirer. Woj was at New York. He was actually at the Bergen Record in New Jersey. And then Chris Broussard was at the New York Times. So I feel old already. I know they feel ultra old, but at the same time, it gave me a start. And I had practice being around basketball. I had an uncle who was commissioner of a basketball league in Harlem, which was very grassroots. So I got the opportunity to be around a lot of the Stephon Marbury's, the Kenny Andersons, the Ross Stricklands, and then my family also owned a sneaker store. So in Harlem, so spending a lot of time with athletes and kind of just getting comfortable in that atmosphere. Here we are now talking about basketball, talking about the business of sport at large. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. And then you getting all that experience of being around Sleepy Grace. Now that you were here, starting your show, now it's experience. I really love the first episode, by the way. Thank you guys had.
Thank you.
Tell me about now that you're in this space now and you guys starting your show. What kind of message are we trying to send out to people in this space? The different sports shows. What you guys need to do so how this time on the show.
So I think the one thing I'd like to say is the show with Tim Thomas going out to Tim Thomas School B. It's pretty cool because it's around somebody that I grew up looking up to. And Tim Thomas, 13-year NBA vet, played for a lot of teams, but locally was or is a legend in Patterson and across New Jersey at large, and then going to Villanova. In a lot of respects to me locally here, he was doing it in New Jersey what LeBron was doing in Northeast Ohio. I mean, he's told me stories about like around the time when he was a Patterson Catholic. Denzel Washington and Patterson was taping the movie The Preacher's Wife with Whitney Houston. And he told me that Denzel Washington actually sent somebody to his gym class to go get him because he wanted to meet Tim when he was in high school and just knew all of the I don't want to say hype, but just the excitement that was around him and his career. So, to kind of do that, I started my career in 1997 with the Nets, and he was drafted in 1997. Yeah, so on. So there you go. Something about that 97. Blessed it. Oh, you hot 97 every day. That's my word. But when you look at just all of those synergies there with Tim, I think it's pretty cool to start the show that way. And I think the thing about this show that's pretty cool is that you're bringing people who are friends, people you've worked with, be on the media side. Stephon Marbury was the first episode. New York, Stephon was the guy, and me and Tim around the same age. That played for Lincoln High School, and then them just being in similar circles in the tri-state area, them knowing each other, their families, and then ultimately becoming teammates on the Knicks under head coach Isaiah Thomas. It's pretty cool. Jamal Crawford, Nate Robinson, and what have you. So I think this show is pretty significant because we're just bringing friends and just having candid conversations just about not just basketball, but about stories behind it. And some of their investments like real estate and coaching, being an inspiration to the future. So I think that's pretty cool.
That's awesome because you guys talking about different avenues, but did you know, because a lot watched the first episode, I remember watching 10 times and stuff from Auburn and MSG before, Xfinity on, you had Channel 45. I was trying to watch at 8 o'clock, and just to see it now, did you know that about 10 times that, he wanted to go to the 96 draft, the 97 draft? I didn't know that, he was thinking about both. So did you know that already before you had that interview, or,
There are stories that he and I have shared about just life and various things there. I won't say I knew, but I'm not surprised because you look at anybody from 95, 96, 97, and they all pretty much the same age, like a year or two behind in high school. So it's kind of like now with one and done, where you look at when you look at LeBron and you look at Melo and you look at Wade. When LeBron came into the league, he came out of high school. When Wade came into the league, he did 1 year at Marquette. When you look at Carmelo, he did that 1 year at Syracuse, and Melo wanted to stay longer. So they're all around the same age. You look at Amara Stoudemire, LeBron, Lenny Cook, and Melo. They all were around the same age in 2002, 2003. Maybe we're just a year or two off. Doesn't surprise me. 96 was you put that in the same ilk as the 2003 draft class, the same ilk as 1984. They all were cohorts, and then Kobe and Tim Thomas and Vince Carter all played AAU basketball. So to me,
you imagine playing this too.
Yeah, my gosh. But the crazy thing is they weren't done yet. You think about it, right? We can say, okay, Kobe, Vince, Tim, they all play AAU, but they were playing in the era of Michael. These guys were high school guys. Looking retroactively, it's like, oh snap, they played on the same team. They still had to get drafted and they had to evolve and arrive. Looking back at it, it's like, oh snap, that's like recounting a draft class. Like nobody knew in '96 that was going to be the actual draft class that it was. But it just happened to be.
Once you was a killer. Facts, yeah, facts, yeah. So now, looking at that, this conversation stuff on Marbury. What's something, you guys would bring to the table? Like, tell me about the leg, no nonsense. It sounds like you guys standing on business, but, what does that mean to you guys?
It's funny, I posted something on Twitter the other day. When y'all stand on business, what kind of shoes y'all wear? y'all wear Pradas, y'all wear Crocs, you wear Timbs, what you standing on? I think there's a lot of shows that are in this space, whether they're on TV, whether they're podcast, or whether they're radio. And we have been in this planning process. It wasn't a whim. We've been in this planning process for no nonsense since June of last year. I was in a TV deal, a 2-year deal. I left the television network, Valley Sports Networks. We were still planning this process, but then I got laid off like a few months later. And I think it's pretty cool because we planted that seed so far in advance. And then once we finally did what we needed to do, we've taken meetings with some pretty big networks, and it just wasn't a fit for what we could bring to the table and what would be. So, we decided that as a collaborative to go independent and see where this takes us because it has the potential to do something. And I'm glad that we did it that way because when you go independent and you do what you want to do, you have to create a control. And the blogs are talking about it. We're here sitting with you discussing it. We're going to a myriad of other platforms to have these conversations. And I think what makes it significant is people want to hear stories, those war stories, war stories about things that happen. I've heard, not in this particular platform, but I've been in situations where I sat down with retired players in particular, and they've told me stories about like it was one guy that told me this. I won't name names, but Google is your friend. Where this guy told me that a former player told me this story about how Michael Jordan was singing Anita Baker's "Giving You the Best of the God" while scoring 48 points and busting somebody's ass. So I mean, people want to hear stuff like
that. Wow. Sheesh. Who was that against?
Jerry Stackhouse. And Jerry got mad. Jerry called me, was mad. Like, he's still a little, like, we're past it. Yeah. We've repaired that, but like, I seen that part of he'll still be like this. But you know, I'm glad he'll take my calls, and we're still cool to this day.
It's like that Kobe commercial, and they like $81.
Yeah, it's like yes, yeah, that's Jerry. Yes, I pay you one. Yes, sons. Yep.
So now in this space, now you talk about better about ourselves, right? And I feel like a lot of creators as well, like creators. How do you know as a creator want to better yourself? And when you have this conversation, how do you know what you guys value? Of course, you experience stuff. How do you know your values when it comes to podcasts and people coming to you? On your different network response?
Because I've been in this space. I've been in this space, you know, in radio. I've been in this space in TV. I've been in this space in digital. Be honest with you, in 2015, 2016, you know, I went over to CBS, and you know, we were only getting paid on sponsorship or reading ads and then keep clicking and more. I learned so much at the inner working. I learned about how to craft the perfect story with the right headline where people read from left to right and it catches their attention. So keywords, words like Steph Curry, Trump, Warriors, Obama, Michael Jordan, Kobe, Juan, certain words, learning how to turn the audio from the podcast into written words so that you tweet it and you get the right response from social media that picks it up. I've done that both on the corporate side. I've also done it with my own podcast, Scoopy Radio, which garners anywhere from 2 to 10 million streams annually. But it's been mentioned everywhere. So, I mean, once you learn the formula, it's not reinventing the wheel, it's just recreating what's there and knowing the appetite for what people want to see digitally and how that turns into TV. I've been in spaces where, you know, I've done interviews with people, thankfully, where that interview, what somebody said hit TMZ, it hit, you know, Complex, it hit Bleacher Report. It's just knowing the appetite, knowing what the consumer wants and putting it out, you know, the way it needs to go. So I've been in situations where I've independently done that. I've done that in corporate spaces, and it's a blessing to be able to do that with an NBA vet, because because people want to know those stories. And you know, I'm a journalist and I do well, but to add that piece of, you know, the team when you're working with someone, it's endless possibilities there.
Yeah, like I didn't say it was possibilities. Like you was jumping around. Did you always like visually yourself at this point? Like, okay, like I know I have a show. Or like, did you know you got a bunch of this is yours? But it's what happened. You're that.
Yes. Wow. But I think it's not just. I think a lot of times. I remember when I was in college and I would turn in papers, and I had this professor. His name is Kevin Manus, and he told me he wrote on my paper. He was like, "You have to find the balance between style and substance, because style is going to take you only but so far." And the fact that he told me that was, I was like, he would write in my term papers, "This sucks." He was like one of my biggest critics. And it's crazy because I texted him like a couple of weeks ago. I said, "Hey man, I'm just thinking about you, and I want to say, you know, thank you. Like, there's been certain people in my life, college, there's been certain people in the professional world. There's a woman who's an editor for a publication. You mentioned Ebony. Her name is at the time. It was Jamila Lemieux, and she told me, don't send me any pictures until you get your writing in order." And to me, that constructive criticism, you know, that propels you, because, you know, to me, the failure is worth more than just the success. And so I'm thankful for that. I think, you know, along the way, I had an early start, which I'm thankful for. But for me, I'm more proud of what I've done as a grown up, you know, than I do what I did as a child just to get here. You know, when I finished grad school in 2011, I was living in my grandmother's basement, and I had no oven, no stovetop. I couldn't go on hot plates, microwave, George Foreman grill, my double door fridge. the refrigerator side didn't work. Freezer side worked as the refrigerator. I was collecting food stamps and at times was collecting unemployment. Thing that propelled me was relationships and redevelopment relationships. So I was the only media member on the red carpet with a food stamp card in my back pocket. But I utilized what I had to do accordingly to get where I needed to get because I had a vision. And it's not exactly as I envisioned it, but I had a at least a thought process of what that would look like. So I'm thankful for, building for the muscle, freelancing here. At one point, I was freelancing in about 10 to 12 different publications. Just anything. They turned in them checks late. You run on net 45, net 50, trying to. My grandmother didn't want to hear like, where's my dead red light? Right? So it made me go harder, and I salute that.
That not quit.
You can't. But the thing is, I wanted to quit at one point. Like probably 2018 is when I wanted to quit, and it's crazy because but here's the thing: in 2018 I wanted to quit, and in 2018 is when I really started to make real money to pay my bills on time to do more. So you're talking about from 2011 to 2018, making things happen, and then 2018, at the beginning of the year when I wanted to quit. Last quarter of the year, things changed for me.
Wow. And I'm trying to think, you about yourself, like, good long on. What kind of mindset you have to have, especially as journalists, it's very scary to keep going. Kind of mindset you have to have.
Sleepless nights. I don't know if that's the mindset, but I can just tell you where I was at. Sleepless nights, people telling you no, people laughing at you, people questioning your credibility. Like, I knew in 2018 LeBron was going to the Lakers. I knew that probably the beginning of the year because of conversations that I was having. You knew Anthony Davis would be following him soon. I was saying that 6 months before the national media was jumping on it because I knew what I knew. People on Twitter laughed at me. People were it was this guy. I wasn't nation to them, but you can't rest on what people think. You literally have to not give a fuck.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you got to keep doing the work,
right?
And the work, I think, separates you from people who just show up and people who just talking.
Nah.
Go ahead. Which one is it?
Yeah. So do you feel this thing? There's a lot more talkers than people that's bringing actual value.
And I don't know. I mean, I've seen both sides of it. I've seen people who. I think in this day and age, I feel like there's a lot of overachievers that get passed up by people who are flash in the pan. And I feel like that has to change. But you also don't know what people had to do to get to where they had to get on both sides. So, I mean, I can only speak for myself. I feel like there's been times I've been passed up and you just use the work to keep going so they can't deny you.
Yeah. And it sounds like you're doing that when it comes to ownership behind the show.
Mm-hmm.
So how's it feel now to have this ownership thing with now checking these contracts? Are you guys on time?
So I think it's a good thing. And it tells you there are people who want to work with us. And I think it just wasn't the right fit. But I think power of both media, social media, and word of mouth will never fade. And I remember Kenny Smith said this to me some years ago. He said, even though we have social media, the formula of shaking hands and kissing babies has always worked from the beginning of time. I don't care if you're a politician. I don't care if you're in media. I don't care if you're a pastor, you're an imam, whatever your faith, your denomination, your class, race, gender, what have you. I think that formula is still there. If people aren't talking about you, who cares about an interview on social media? I'm able to represent both Tim and I at the show because of the work that we put in and reps in our respective a space. And so I think ultimately ownership is cool. Partnerships as well as just various other things in that regard is what's going to sustain you to pay what you got to pay. But I'll add this: Dan Dash has often been criticized for his way of doing business. But the one thing that I could, whether you like him, you hate him, you're in the middle. The one thing that he said that I agree with is this: you're not the boss if you don't spend your own money. And also, I'll add to that: if you don't invest in yourself, nobody's going to take you seriously. So if I came here dressed like a bum, you put out what you get. So I feel like if I didn't represent myself the right way, nobody would care. But we have something that's different, something that's new, and we want to maintain it. We don't just want to be a flash in the bit.
Yeah, 'cause you came really sharp, man. You got the glasses, you got the jacket going. Like, I wasn't playing. Listen, you still on here.
I stay on business with white Air Force Ones.
You
But ultimately, man, I think it's about presentation and it's about being consistent. But to be honest with you, the consistency part, I think people will respect the consistency part, and your look is a little off, but the consistency of the content is good. It's finding your balance and finding what works for you.
Of course, so be massive. Okay. So I know that you get to having this show. Let me ask you: when you take the 96 class, right, against the 97 class, let's just say, right, like East and West type of thing. What you got?
It's a 96 class.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, but I will say that the 97 class still did have some guys that you have to highlight.
Yeah.
I mean, we know the 96 class had any iteration of Kobe, Antoine Walker, Kerry Shields, Steve Nash, Marcus Camby, Ray Allen, right? But then you look at the 97 class, you have Chauncey Billups, you have Tracy McGrady, you have T. Van Horn, you have Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
But I still do like the 96 class. That's just my preference. But Tim is still my homie. Stephon's still my homie. But I like the 96 class.
So like you went through this like conversations like those happens between you guys. You're okay.
Yeah, just I bust so ass, so much this person, I bust this, but like those are conversations, and I think that's great for platforms like this and others where people want to hear those stories. This is like when you look at the NBA at this point, when you see a lot of retired players, it's like creating a fan base or loyal consumers that will still buy Nintendo products to this day, that will still watch WWE. You know, I don't watch the WWE now, but in my heyday, Razor Ramon, Diesel, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hitman Hart, Hulk Hogan, The Rock, those were all those, Mankind, all that.
Yeah.
But you create those franchises and people will always want to see what you have going on because you have that built in. So the same way that we're having these conversations about basketball, we're having them about wrestling, we're having them about, the Rocky movies and all the different installments. Like, they were smart to continue the Rocky trilogy or series because now Michael B. Jordan's taking over for Stallone, or at least working in partnership with Stallone. And it's the same thing with basketball.
Awesome. I think you share that. I got one other question for you. So
I got no time for it.
Of course. So tell me, let's say, what kind of advice would you give to yourself when you first started this media space on what you know that?
The same thing that I tell people all the time: don't take no from someone who's not qualified to tell you yes. But a lot of people here, but that'll tell you no. And then when you see you popular, or they'll give you keys. But I also think sometimes a no, it's not a forever no, it's a no right now. And you have to find other avenues to make what work for you. So no is a tricky thing, but sometimes yeses are too.
Yeah. Well, Harris, it's funny you say that because me, I come to realist. When I first reached out to Reddit a long time ago, they said about what was it? The areas, like what you say, and stuff like that. To see what I can do better, and then they go up to something like share that because a lot of people can't say notes.
No's are subjective with those. Like I told you, like as much as I'm thankful for the wins, the L's prepare you for the wins. So some and I think that the no's in the same way. When I finished grad school, I was just applying to jobs, and it was like no. It was like I look at who they brought in, and I'm like, they're not better than me. Like I was thinking, they're not better than me. They just maybe had someone who advocated for them harder, and then they did the work and they maintained. Like, but at the same time, I look at my maturity, my growth, maybe some resentment. Maybe had they said yes to me, I would have latched it.
It was always you listening to that pivot if I would be too short sense. Awesome. And I want to ask you, with the current status that you're in right now, who right now is the top 5 players that you actually party watching? Because I guess the best players right now.
So I'll just in answer to the question, 5 players that I enjoy watching: Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder,
and Ray says,
Of course, I still enjoy watching LeBron.
yes.
I enjoy watching Kyrie Irving.
You see the left hand floor?
I did. I enjoy watching Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. Probably the fifth spot would be
That fifth spot was always tricky, right? But so it's tough.
Giannis.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So like, okay. Yeah. I can get the balance.
Okay,
It's not deep up.
but see, I like KD, and I didn't mention him.
Yes.
He's up there. I think in this era where it's still LeBron's lead, you have to start making some concessions about what's next. You know, Kevin has been there, so it's not really new. But at the same time, Wembanyama is here.
Yeah.
Luka's here.
He's had a great move, so
He did. So I think at the end of the day, man, I just think basketball is in great hands, and I think that people are scared of the youth that are coming in, but I think the league is in great hands no matter what.
yeah. And I just wanted to ask you that, I will just tell you this. I think that the content you guys have in the first episode is really good because people that don't know what happened in 96, 07, that transition.
Sure.
Like, I think that's good for upcoming athletes who have this NBA to know what's going on and what happens so you can not take this for granted. Actually, we know. But the ability, man.
Well, thank you for that. And I'll add this. I know we're wrapping up, but I'll add, I think the post-Jordan era to many people is foreign because you know what your people, like your age group, they don't even remember Michael when he played on the Wizards, right? So, like, I have conversations with players and in the current league, like, about Michael, like Zach LaVine, currently a member of the Chicago Bulls. He's one of the faces of the Bulls. He told me that he watched a ton of YouTube videos to catch up to see what it is. And then I remember last season, I took a trip to Oklahoma for like a week, and the Jazz came to town. And I was sitting in the locker with Alan Sexton, and I was showing him a little bit of my stuff. He is.
I remember watching him. He was high school.
Yeah, he was nice.
Yes.
He was nice.
Yeah. I know.
I was sitting next to him in the locker room, and he was like, "Yo, let me ask you something. What was it like to watch Michael play?" And I was like number one, he made me feel old, and it was innocent. It really was asking, and it was like, I was like, you know how your age group likes Kobe? Michael was my age bracket's Kobe, but Kobe was a tweener between my age bracket and like his and your, because y'all are probably close in age.
Yes.
But to put it into words, he was that guy. But it's like, I think social media won't allow you to forget that in a way that social media wasn't around for Kareem. And I feel like social media is making Magic and Kareem extinct and Bill Russell extinct. And I feel like this GOAT conversation with LeBron and Michael, and unfortunately Kobe not around to defend himself, it pits those two against each other. But LeBron is not even a Michael-esque type player. He's more Magic and Oscar Robertson as a playmaker, and even maybe a Penny Hardaway than he is Michael. Kobe was the closest thing to Michael. The way he walked, the way he talked, the way he chewed his gum, all of that.
And that was
Everything.
Yeah. Wow. So that's good that you actually like you still saying, would you guys call yourself a basketball history?
My late mother she used to laugh at me when I said I'm a basketball academic. She was like, "What is it?" I was like, "Mind your business." Like, I think I would consider myself a historian. I think, but there's things I don't know. If I don't know, I'll ask. But I love the game.
Of course.
Yeah,
We love the game. It's like I'm passionate, man.
Facts.
Well, I want to say good brother, man. Thank you for me.
Brother, thank you for the opportunity to be myself.
Of course, man. I mean, that's what we want to do today, right? Sure, like in this space, people listen to you based off the value you bring, and also the experience, not just part of here. So I want to say thank you, man, and I'm looking forward to listening to more. Okay?
No nonsense. We got to make sure we check out everything that you have going on as well.
We appreciate that. Your support.
Yes, sir.
Hey guys, I want to say thank you to Good Eats Experience for hosting this great interview. If you guys are in Newark, New Jersey, make sure you stop by the city and get you some good eats, man. It's a lot of great platters. You don't want to miss out. Also, I want to mention, stay tuned for the next interview with Tim. which is his lovely co-host, and we're gonna go over some great things as well. So you better not want to miss this. See you soon.
We are Jersey. We are Jersey. We are Jersey. We are Jersey.